What's going on, Horror Squad? Welcome to I Shot Him Six Times YouTube horror movie channel. I'm your host, Marcus, as you already know. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon to get all the latest content updates to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing Scream 6 being filmed in Canada and why it may make sense and why it doesn't make sense for the storyline. Before I do that, let's hit that intro. I shot him 6 times. Okay, guys, so as I stated at the top of the video, I'm going to be discussing Scream 6 being shot and filmed in Canada as opposed to Wilmington, North Carolina, which was where Scream 5 was shot and filmed. I want to first state before I get into the reasons why I believe it makes sense for the storyline and why it doesn't make sense for the storyline. I will say I don't think the storyline will be actually based in Canada. I think this is obviously they're just using this as a location. They're gonna make up some, mythical place, kind of like they did in the original Scream 2. They shot the film in Los Angeles and in Atlanta, but they obviously in the movie said it was based in Ohio and it was Winter College, etc. Anybody who does the research knows it's not true. It was just made up, a mythical location that was shot in two different locations. So I think that's what we're getting here with this. I don't think the actual story will pick up in Canada. I just think that's where they're shooting the film, and they'll come up with some type of mythical location to disclose, obviously, where they're at. Now, I will say this, that I do believe why it makes sense for this movie to be not in Woodsboro, because it was obvious, especially right before the events of Scream 5, or like right before the ending. Obviously, Sam was trying to get Tara out of Woodsboro, get as far away from Woodsboro as possible. Just forget everything, move on from these events and go forward. Obviously, we get the the final act, the reveals, etc. And then obviously, the happy ending. Chad and Mindy live. Sam, Tara live, etc. Cindy and Gail. So now it would very much make sense that Sam still has the same mindset. I want to get out of Woodsboro. I want to get my sister out of Woodsboro. That makes perfect sense. Why they would change the set location, and in all honesty, why this movie might not be in Woodsboro. I do think that they are going to base this storyline somewhere out of Woodsboro. It will not be in Woodsboro. Now, the issues you might have with that is, okay, so if the girls move, Sam and Tara, where does that leave the mom, Christina? Is she going to move with them? They're both basically grown adults now, so, obviously Sam is a grown adult already, and Tara is just basically getting, I would believe, fresh out of high school by this point. So they're basically free to do whatever they want, but it leaves, where does Christina Carpenter come into the story then? Will we see her in Scream 6 if they move? I think that's a very interesting question that poses in terms of storyline, in terms of the direction that we might be trying to go, in terms of bringing Christina in and incorporating her and learning more about her. So, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's, I just think they're kind of following in the direction of the original Scream 2. They're going to take the story out of Woodsboro. It won't be based in Woodsboro. Where whoever this new killer or killers are, they're basically going to follow Sam. It's like Cindy said, you can run, but it will always follow you. You know what I mean? It will follow you no matter where you go. So with that being said, I do believe that this movie will be taking place in a different location outside of Woodsboro. I personally would love to see it stay in Woodsboro. I think there's so much story still left to be told in Woodsboro, but maybe we'll get that in the third one. Maybe we'll, kind of like, how Stab 3, wanted to do in the original, trilogy. They took it back to Woodsboro, etc. So maybe we'll get that in, the final Scream of this trilogy. but it does looking like they are heading in the direction of taking the storyline out of Woodsboro. It's going to be interesting to see, it's going to be interesting to see, does Chad, Mindy, and Tara all go to the same college? It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to go about this, in terms of, where they're at now, where each character is at now, as well as Cindy. If they bring Nev back, and she's already been approached, so they want to bring her back, and she said if the story is right, she's going to come back. So it's going to be interesting to see how even Cindy plays into this next Scream, and how much of a role she will have in this next Scream. Will she have a bigger role than she had in the 5th run? Or even lesser role? I think this whole set relocation leaves a lot of questions to be answered, and I think obviously, down the road we're going to get some more answers that we can theorize on what's going to happen for the storyline. But like I said, guys, I'm not opposed to it. It makes sense. It makes more sense than it doesn't make sense in terms of the 5th film, because, why the hell would Sam and Tara, either any of them, stay in Woodsboro? Cindy's not staying. She's got a whole family somewhere else. And that's another thing that could be interesting to find out. Maybe they wind up where Cindy, is in the state or close by where Cindy's living. We don't know. We don't know what, type of mythical location they're going to make up for this film. But like I said in the beginning, I don't think that this film is going to be based in Canada. It's going to be filmed in Canada. Obviously, certain locations that they want to use to capture the ambiance of a Scream movie, but I don't think the story is going to pick up in Canada, obviously. I think they're going to make something up, and now that I thought about it, I honestly do think it's going to be a little bit closer to maybe where Cindy's living. Guys, I said it before. If Cindy's story is truly over, why are we bringing her back for more films? It just doesn't make sense, especially when you're changing the set location and you're moving. It seems like you're moving everything out of Woodsboro. It seems like you're moving the story out of Woodsboro for the time being. How does Cindy play into that unless you're close by her? That's what seems to make sense to me if she's going to be incorporated in the next movie, is that these kids would have to basically go to college maybe close by to where she's living. I can't imagine Cindy every single time Sam is in trouble, unless that's her daughter and she's trying to protect her from the real truth. But how to do that. But anyway, I just can't see Cindy continually coming out of basically proverbial motherhood retirement to keep helping Sam in her battle against Ghostface. There has to be a story and a reasoning for why Cindy's going to come back. And I think the set location and where they wind up, taking these characters is going to be very significant, especially for Cindy, because you have to make it make sense. But alright, guys, that's my take on the whole relocation for the set of Scream 6, taking it out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and moving it to Canada. Like I said, guys, I think it's an okay move. It doesn't surprise me. It's basically history repeating itself. That's what they did in Scream 2, as I stated at the beginning of the video. So it doesn't surprise me that they're making this move, and it's going to be very interesting to see where they place these characters. But I want to hear from you guys. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about the set relocation for Scream 6. Do you like the move? Do you guys think that these characters will be placed in a closer location, closer to Cindy Prescott, where she's staying? I want to hear from you guys. Hit the comment section. Give me your thoughts. But alright, guys, I'm out for this video. Once again, this is I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. I'm your host, Marcus. Once again, be sure to hit that like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as well as hit that notification icon to get all the latest content updates, as well as be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.